The year was 1989. A biting wind swept across the desolate plains of North Dakota, rattling the windows of Dr. Dan Davies' office. Inside, the doctor himself was a picture of composure. His steel-grey eyes held a chilling gleam, a hint of something sinister lurking beneath the surface of his calm demeanor.
I wasn't interested in healing. I was obsessed with the intricacies of the human mind, the delicate threads of sanity that I longed to unravel.
His patients were his subjects, their vulnerabilities, his tools. He believed he could orchestrate madness, predict the downfall of the human psyche with chilling accuracy. His weapon of choice? Misdiagnosis. He would plant the seeds of doubt, prescribe potent medications with insidious side effects, and watch as their realities fractured piece by fragile piece.
My most recent victims, 3 women, each distinct, each unsuspecting. Angel, a vibrant young woman on the cusp of adulthood. Helena, a loving wife and mother, her life a tapestry of family and routine. And Lucy, a woman in her twilight years, her mind a treasure trove of memories. Little did they know they were about to become puppets in my twisted game. Their lives, their realities were about to be irrevocably shattered.
Angel, a bright-spirited 22-year-old, walked into Dr. Davies' office seeking help for mild anxiety. She was full of life, her eyes sparkling with the hope of a better tomorrow. She believed that with the right guidance, she could overcome her anxiety and continue to chase her dreams. She had dreams, aspirations, a future shimmering with promise. Angel envisioned herself achieving great things, her mind brimming with possibilities. She saw a world where her potential was limitless, where her anxiety was just a small hurdle she could easily overcome. But Dr. Davies saw an opportunity, a chance to test his theories on a young, malleable mind. He was more interested in his experiments than in Angel's well-being. His intentions were far from noble, and he saw Angel as the perfect subject for his twisted plans.
I diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder, a cruel misjudgment that would have devastating consequences. It was a label that would change the course of her life, a diagnosis that was not only incorrect, but also harmful.
The powerful antipsychotics he prescribed were meant to stabilize her, but instead, they plunged her into a living nightmare. These medications, far too strong for her condition, began to wreak havoc on her mind and body. The side effects were severe, leaving her in a constant state of distress. She became withdrawn, her once vibrant personality fading into a haze of confusion and fear. The lively, hopeful young woman who had walked into Dr. Davies' office was disappearing, replaced by someone who was barely a shadow of her former self. The world, once full of promise, now appeared distorted, a menacing labyrinth she couldn't navigate. Every day became a struggle, every moment filled with uncertainty and dread. The future she once dreamed of now seemed like an unreachable fantasy. The whispers started subtly, voices twisting her thoughts, amplifying her insecurities. What began as faint murmurs soon grew louder, more insistent, turning her own mind against her. She could no longer trust her thoughts, her reality slipping away. Her once vivid dreams morphed into terrifying nightmares, her nights haunted by shadowy figures and chilling whispers. Sleep, which once brought her peace, now became a battleground where her fears came to life.
The line between reality and delusion blurred, my grip on sanity slipping with each passing day. I could no longer distinguish between what was real and what was a product of my tormented mind. Every reflection, every shadow seemed to mock my suffering.
3 years bled into an agonizing blur of fear and paranoia. Time lost all meaning as days turned into nights and nights into days, each one filled with the same relentless torment. The passage of time offered no relief, only a deepening sense of despair. Angel, once a beacon of youthful energy, was a shell of her former self. The vibrant young woman who had once been full of life and dreams was now a mere shadow, her spirit crushed under the weight of her suffering. The light in her eyes had dimmed, replaced by a haunted look, a constant reminder of the torment she endured. The damage was done. Her once bright and hopeful gaze was now filled with a deep, unending sorrow. Angel was left with a diagnosis of PTSD, a cruel testament to Dr. Davies' sinister game. This final diagnosis was a stark reminder of the irreversible damage caused by his reckless experimentation. Her life, once full of promise, was now marked by a struggle for survival. Helena, a woman whose life revolved around the comforting rhythm of family, found solace in the everyday moments of love and laughter. But her peaceful existence was shattered when she became Dr. Davies's next target. A devoted wife and mother of two, she cherished every moment with her children, holding them close and nurturing their dreams. She sought his help for insomnia, a common ailment she hoped he could remedy with his expertise. Little did she know this visit would mark the beginning of her descent into a nightmare. Instead of finding relief, she became another pawn in his twisted game, her life spiraling out of control.
I diagnosed her with bipolar disorder, a diagnosis completely unfounded, yet delivered with unwavering certainty, knowing it would change her life forever. My words, though false, carried the weight of authority, and she trusted me completely.
He prescribed lithium, a powerful mood stabilizer, its side effects insidious and life-altering, promising stability but delivering chaos. The medication's side effects began to manifest, altering her perception and distorting her reality. The once unwavering anchor of her family, Helena found herself adrift in a sea of emotional turmoil, unable to find her footing. Her mind, once a sanctuary, became a battleground, and she was lost in the storm of her own thoughts. The medication, instead of bringing balance, amplified her anxieties, turning her into a stranger in her own home, a place that once brought her comfort. Her husband, confused and frightened by her sudden erratic behavior, watched helplessly as the woman he loved slipped away, unable to reach her. He tried to understand, to help, but the woman he knew was disappearing before his eyes, watched helplessly as the woman he loved slipped away, her laughter replaced by strained silences and hushed arguments. The laughter that once filled their home was replaced by strained silences and hushed arguments, the warmth of their love growing cold.
My children, their innocent eyes reflecting their growing fear, retreated from my unpredictable moods, their joy replaced by anxiety. They no longer ran to me with their problems. Instead, they hid, afraid of what I might do or say. Our once unbreakable bond slowly disintegrating, the love we shared now a distant memory.
The world Helena had so carefully constructed, the family she cherished, crumbled around her like dust, leaving her in despair. The whispers of her misdiagnosis echoed in her ears, fueling her paranoia, severing the ties that held her life together. The whispers of her misdiagnosis echoed in her ears, fueling her paranoia, severing the ties that held her life together. Her husband, unable to cope with her increasingly erratic behavior, finally made the heart-wrenching decision to file for divorce, breaking the last thread of their connection. Her husband, unable to cope with her increasingly erratic behavior, finally made the heart-wrenching decision to file for divorce. The final blow came with the signing of the divorce papers, a moment that shattered what little remained of her spirit. Her children, their faces etched with a loss they couldn't comprehend, were now just painful reminders of all she had lost, their innocence tainted by the chaos. Helena, surrounded by memories of a life that once was, looked at her family photo with tears, realizing the full extent of her loss.
My name is Lucy. I'm 67 years old. I've lived a life full of experiences, joys and sorrows. My life, it's been a rich tapestry of memories, you know? Each moment, each memory, a thread woven into the fabric of my existence. I went to Dr. Davies's office, thinking it was just mild forgetfulness. Just age, right? A few misplaced keys, a forgotten name here and there. A natural part of life's journey. We all slow down a bit as we get older, don't we?
But Dr. Davies saw an opportunity not to heal, but to exploit. An opportunity to observe the disintegration of the mind, to study the slow, painful erosion of a person's essence, to witness the slow, agonizing erasure of a lifetime, each memory, each piece of my identity slipping away.
He diagnosed me with early onset dementia. The words hit me like a ton of bricks. It felt like a cruel sentence, a life I had known, slipping through my fingers. I was still vibrant, still clinging to the precious threads of my past. Each photograph, each memento, a lifeline to who I was.
He prescribed a cocktail of medications, a mix of powerful drugs meant to control, to dominate, powerful antipsychotics designed to sedate, to subdue, to turn a vibrant soul into a compliant patient. Instead, they ravaged her mind, stripping away her memories, leaving her lost in a fog of confusion and terror, each pill a step further into the abyss.
The world, once familiar and comforting, became alien, menacing. Shadows where there once was light. The faces of loved ones, once etched in my heart, turned into strangers. Their smiles, their voices, all fading away. Their voices, distant echoes from a life I could no longer grasp. A life that felt like it belonged to someone else.
Her days, once filled with purpose and joy, were now an endless loop of disorientation and fear. Each day, a battle to remember, to hold on. She would wander aimlessly, her once sharp mind clouded by the fog of chemically induced dementia. The streets, the parks, all unfamiliar, all threatening.
The medication stole my past, robbed me of my identity. Each dose, a piece of me lost forever. The vibrant, loving woman I was, gone. Replaced by someone I didn't recognize. Replaced by a hollow shell. A reflection of a person I no longer knew. My eyes reflecting the terror of a mind slipping into oblivion. The fear, the confusion, all consuming.
Her golden years, meant to be filled with the warmth of cherished memories, were transformed into a living nightmare. Each day a reminder of what was lost. A cruel testament to Dr. Davies's twisted ambition. His desire to control, to dominate, leaving a trail of broken lives in its wake. The whispers of Dr. Davies's unethical practices eventually escaped the confines of his office. The tormented pleas of his victims, the shattered remnants of the lives he had so callously destroyed, could no longer be silenced.
The families, left to pick up the pieces of their loved ones' shattered realities, demanded justice.
The medical board, finally alerted to his egregious misconduct, launched an investigation. But Dr. Dan Davies, the architect of so much suffering, was nowhere to be found. He had vanished, leaving behind the wreckage of shattered lives, a chilling testament to his unchecked ambition.
Some whispered he had fled North Dakota, seeking refuge in anonymity, haunted by the faces of those he had so cruelly betrayed. Others believed he had simply erased himself, assuming a new identity, his sinister legacy buried beneath a carefully constructed facade.
The truth remained elusive, a chilling echo in the windswept plains of North Dakota. Justice for Angel, Helena, and Lucy remained tantalizingly out of reach. Their stories served as a stark reminder of the devastating power of unchecked ambition and the profound consequences of medical malpractice. Their voices, though silenced, continued to whisper on the wind, a chilling testament to the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most trusted professions.